Enjoy the show.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode number 110 of Siriani Says Sports. And I promise, for those of you who are tuning in tonight, we greatly appreciate your support because obviously, elephant in the room, midterm elections, we get it, we understand it. But from the courtesy of the three of us, we're going to keep this very, very brief. We're going to try and it's 8:11 right now. We're going to be out of here by 9:01 the latest. And we're going to make sure that you get all your midterm stuff in so you can grind it all night long, watch whatever you got to watch, but like for now, hang out with us, chill out, have a cup of coffee, drink some coffee, do whatever you got to do, hang out with us. We're going to talk some sports and we're going to have some fun. But anyways, I'm Matt Sirianni. I met Jerry the King Lawler this weekend at a Comic-Con. That's a fun fact for me. That's Ryan Barringer Jr. How you doing, Ryan?
I've been better, so I'll apologize in advance for my throat. Your boy is sick, so unfortunately. But yeah, so I'm powering through. But yeah, man, you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, just my voice is killing me. So if I voice crack or I just sound kind of like this, I'm sorry.
And then at the bottom of the screen, that's Loro Antonio from the Colorcast community. Big Colorcast guy. Just finished calling the World Series. How you doing, Loro?
Doing great. It was a good World Series. And then, Matt, I'm looking forward to calling two back-to-back Charger games with you because I sent you that the Chargers-Chiefs game has been flexed in Week 11. That replaced the Steelers and Bengals game.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm looking forward to calling a Chiefs-Chargers game with you next Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fun. So in the spirit of midterms, we have a new segment. So I sent Ryan and Laurel the agenda as always. We have a new segment. It's called Siri Kornacki. Now, I don't know if the two of you know a man named Steve Kornacki who works for NBC.
I do.
That man is the best. I love that man. He's great.
He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy.
He wears the khakis and the white shirt and the tie all day long, calling out counties and stuff like that. We're gonna have a special segment called Siri Kornacki, which is based on the college football playoff scenarios and what could happen in the final 3 weeks. We're also gonna have Low Row Knows. We're gonna have the three of us are each gonna have our one game that we want to harp on. For Ryan, it's the Jets. For me, it's the Packers, and for Low Row, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got Ryan gonna gloat on something very, 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 very close that happened over the course of the weekend. And then we're going to go through rapid fire picks based on the spread. And then we're going to go through our sponsors quickly. And that's going to be the show. But anyways, let's get started. So about an hour ago, we had the college football playoff rankings come out. I'm going to go through 1 through 7 only because those are the teams that really have a chance to make it to the college football playoff, which is still 4 teams. So from 7 up to 1, 7 with 2 losses is LSU. 6 is Oregon from the Pac-12. 5 is Tennessee. They fell from 1 to 5 after a bad loss to Georgia. They're at 5. Undefeated TCU from the Big 12 is at 4. Michigan's at 3. Ohio State is 2. And then number 1 of the defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs. So I'm going to get each of your perspectives first. I'm going to go to Loro first because we've been talking for a while, and I want to give Ryan's throat a little bit of rest. So, Loro, are you surprised with the top 7 at all?
Not necessarily, but, Alabama should have been past USC for the 8th spot, but Georgia number 1 does not surprise me whatsoever. But LSU, you got to be scared when you have to play LSU. I mean, Jaden Daniels had a great game against Alabama, and I'm concerned about my Tide. And I just think that everybody wants to play Bama and everybody wants to knock Alabama out, which I get, but Alabama has been good, but it hasn't been great for the Tide.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the Crimson Tide, they're in 3rd place in the SEC West. Remember, the winner of the SEC East and SEC West will face off in Atlanta for the SEC title. If LSU were to go on and win the SEC West and play Georgia, actually I'll bring up that scenario as we get closer to the show. But Ryan, I want to get your thoughts on the top 7. Any miscues with this top 7, or are you fine with it the way it is?
TCU, man, coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew they were good, right? They've always been one of those, not big college program names, right? But, they've always been there, Matt. Are they going to be the Cincinnati of this year? They might. I mean, I really can't tell you, more than 2 players on that TCU team right now. But, I mean, I can do my research on it. But not really. But I think LSU, going back to what Laura said, has been turning heads. I mean, Keyshawn Boutte, their wide receiver, I mean, that guy is filthy. And then, yeah, they're just wide receiver factory. But I mean, Bama slowing down, Ohio State continuing to show that they're just dominant on offense. I mean, C.J. Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr., um, Jackson Smith and Jigba, right? Like they're loaded. But yeah, dude, Bama, the fall of Alabama is just. I don't know if it's a fall, but I definitely think Bama's kicking themselves that they've been in close games because to them, even if they win, winning a close game to them is essentially a loss in power rankings just because of their standards.
And the thing that hurts Bama a lot with these losses is that the SEC is very, very highly looked upon by the committee. We know this for years. The SEC is always going to be a factor in the college football playoff as to who gets in that top four. Georgia has essentially risen to the rankings, and Stetson Bennett against Tennessee had a very, very good outing. I mean, this was the first time we saw Hendon Hooker look like a mortal human. I mean, Georgia's defense, they lost half their starters to the draft, and look at them. They're still good. They're only giving up, I think, 9, 10 points a game this year.
I mean, my boy Jalen Carter's good.
Yeah. It's really, really amazing. So if you look at this top four right now, it's Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU. That's one SEC team, two Big Tens, and one Big 12. Now, what's interesting is that Ohio State and Michigan got to play each other on the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Hell of a game, by the way.
And that's going to be one hell of a matchup. Whoever loses that matchup, you got to say is probably out because Ohio State and Michigan are both in the Big Ten East. So one of them is not going to be even playing for a Big Ten title. And the thing with that is so unfortunate. What if we see this Ohio State offense fall to Michigan for the second year in a row? They might not compete for SEC title, and they didn't look particularly good against Northwestern this week. CJ Stroud had 76 yards passing. So Ryan, your thing about CJ Stroud, being a bust-worthy guy.
Not a bust, not a bust, but I think people are giving CJ Stroud too much hype over Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Like to me, I think Bryce Young's the best quarterback. Right, that's going to come out in the draft this year. Again, it's early, but I put more pride in the Alabama system than I do in that Ohio State system.
Yeah.
Because this year, right, like outside of whatever his name is, John Breer, the running back for Bama, right?
Yeah.
Outside of that guy, really they don't have the receivers that they did last year. Like last year, you saw Jameson Williams, John Mechie. The year before that, go down the list, right? And you still look at Ohio State with CJ Stroud. I mean, CJ Stroud last year, right, had Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Marvin Harrison at 4. But and now he's got Njigba and Marvin Harrison. And on Njigba, by the way, that guy's been having a very underwhelming season. I think he's definitely having a good one.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen Marvin Harrison prove that he's going to be the guy on that Ohio State team. And I know Jackson Smith's going to come out in the draft this year. But, like, it's crazy. Now, and I'll tell you this. I think Ohio State actually will win against Michigan because I don't have faith in that Michigan defense like I did last year with that mostly because they don't have their two defensive ends this year, David Ojabo and Aiden Hutchinson like they did last year. I think that defense was better. They might have one of the best running backs in college in Blake Corum.
Yes.
Like that guy's a freak. I definitely think he's probably top 3. Probably like Bijan Robinson, John Muir Gibbs, and then probably him as probably like the top 3 backs in college right now. But and the guy on Texas, by the way, is a freak too. That's probably Bijan. Never mind, I'm sorry.
Right.
But yeah, no. So I think Ohio State's going to take it, but it's going to be an interesting battle because I agree with you, Maddie. I think whoever wins is a lock for the college football playoffs.
Now, Laurel, I want to get your thoughts on Ohio State, Michigan, because these two teams are in the same division. One's going to win the Big Ten title, obviously, because the rest of the Big Ten is kind of like underwhelmingly bad. So if you had to pick between Ohio State and Michigan, who do you think would come out on top of that matchup?
I'd go with Michigan. I think the coaching is I think the coaching of Jim Harbaugh is good, and I think that Michigan would want to have another shot at the college football playoff.
Yeah, absolutely. If I had to pick personally between Ohio State and Michigan, I'd probably go with Michigan because I think they're just good all around. If CJ Stroud has one bad game, it's over. So
that's fair.
Yeah, and I get it, wide receiver territory, wide receiver factory at Ohio State. Obviously, you mentioned the names coming out last year's draft, but there's something about Michigan that's just good all around that just makes me feel that they have something brewing for the future. And I think Jim Harbaugh is the perfect head coach for that college. But now,
and by the way, what's crazy about that too, by the way, is those conversations like 2 years ago that either he was going to be gone or that that school wanted him gone. And now
Uh-huh.
look at him 2 years later.
Yeah, he's resurrected himself a little bit in Michigan. All
You
right,
gotta respect it. You gotta respect
absolutely.
it.
So what's going to happen is it's time for Siri Kornacki. This is a shout out to Steve Kornacki. Steve Kornacki, if you don't follow us, please give us a follow. I like your khaki pants. Um, but anyway, all right. So now here we're going to go. We're going to go based on schedule by schedule. So obviously I told you guys before I had the top 7 written down right here. I don't know if you can see it. Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, TCU 4, Tennessee 5, Oregon 6, LSU 7. Now here's going to be the interesting scenario here. Let's go to Tennessee's schedule. Do they still have a chance to get in the top 4? Well, here's what's going to happen. They're going to have to shake off that really tough loss to Georgia where they basically got dominated. They have Missouri, they have South Carolina, and they have Vanderbilt. Pretty easy schedule for Tennessee. Now, if there's a chance that we could see 2 SEC teams in the college football playoff that come from the SEC West, and what I mean by that is we could see Tennessee and Georgia, who are both in the same division, in the college football playoff. If Tennessee goes undefeated the rest of the way, but Georgia could go undefeated the rest of the way because if you look at Georgia's schedule, they got Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Georgia Tech. Kentucky is actually no slouch. They could probably surprise Georgia, but I think Mississippi State's too easy for them, and Georgia Tech, the in-state game is probably gonna be too much for the is gonna be too much for Georgia Tech to cover. So Georgia Tech, let's just say for all intents and purposes, Georgia advances to the SEC championship. They go undefeated the rest of the way. They go to Atlanta, their home state, their home city, to play in the SEC championship game. And let's say, for instance, let's go to the SEC West for a second between LSU, Alabama, and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is actually very interesting because they got a big game against Alabama this upcoming Saturday. They got Bama, they got Arkansas, and they got Mississippi State. So this Alabama Ole Miss game could be interesting because the winner of that could challenge LSU for the SEC West and make a statement, but LSU would have to drop a game. And let's go to LSU's schedule for a second here. If we go to LSU, they're coming off the good win against Bama, the gutsy win against Bama. They got Arkansas, UAB, Texas A&M. Does that sound like a favorable schedule for LSU? It kind of does.
Yeah.
So, especially with the UAB game, Arkansas has fallen off a cliff, and Texas A&M is just not that good this year. I don't know what happened. Jimbo Fisher's not backing up his words. So now let's go to Ohio State and Michigan's schedule here. Ohio State, obviously, we're going to cross off the Indiana game. We're going to cross off the Maryland game. We're going to go straight to Michigan on November 26th, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So what's going to happen on that game? It's in Columbus, Ohio. So Ohio State has the home field advantage. And currently right now, the top spot in the Big Ten West belongs to Illinois, who's not even ranked. So that just tells you the state of affair in the Big Ten. It's a 2-horse race, and they're both in the same division. So you look at the Big Ten, and you're thinking, one of Ohio State, Michigan is possibly going to make it. But here's where the Big Ten could make a couple of pickups here. Let's go to TCU, the one wild card that we have left in this whole conference, college football playoff conversation. They got Texas, who's tough. They got Texas next week. Who's tough. They're going on the road to play Texas. Then they travel to Baylor. Then they're at home against Iowa State. The only way I can see TCU making it to the college football playoff is if they go undefeated and win the Big 12 title. And then we're going to go to Oregon for a second. Let's go to Oregon. There's actually a 3-horse race in the Pac-12 right now. The Pac-12 is making a comeback here right before we get that whole shakeup of conferences. Oregon, they got Washington, they got Utah, and they got Oregon State. Now let's go to USC for a second because I think USC is also interesting. They're at 8, but they can make some noise. They got Colorado, UCLA. I think the winner of that game is going to keep their college football playoff hopes alive in that USC UCLA game, and then they got Notre Dame. So ultimately, if you paint the picture for this college football playoff and what I think is favorable based on the schedule, Tennessee needs to hope for a miracle that TCU doesn't go undefeated and that the winner of Ohio State Michigan stays alive. Because right now Clemson is out. I think they've fallen all the way to 9 or 10. That loss to Notre Dame really hurt their cause. Look at the rest of their schedule: Louisville, Miami, and South Carolina. Obviously, one loss to a Notre Dame program that wasn't ranked by 21 points, that kind of hurts your cause a little bit. So I ultimately don't think Clemson's going to make it in. I don't think Alabama's going to get in unless a miracle happens. I hate to say that, Laurel, but unless a miracle happens, like they got Ole Miss, Austin Peay, and Auburn. I mean, the last 2 games are just crapshoots. I mean, they could win those games easily. But if they can beat Ole Miss, I think they're still alive. But they would have to hope that LSU drops one of those 3 games. Maybe Arkansas. Maybe. Yeah, I think the Arkansas game is maybe where Ole Miss, maybe where LSU could probably drop a game. But you got to remember, LSU has the tiebreaker over Alabama. So even if they're tied in conference record, LSU and Alabama, they could still LSU would still get the nod in the SEC West because of head-to-head matchups. So any questions from either one of you two about the odds?
I think I'm good.
No, we're good. I mean, I just think that, like you said, Alabama needs a miracle from LSU, which I think, you know what? I don't think Alabama should worry about what other teams do. They need to worry about themselves these next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. So that's Siri Kornacki. Steve Kornacki, again, follow us on Twitter. I love your khaki pants. Please give us a follow. All right, so that's Siri Kornacki. It's a 5-minute segment where I go into it. But now we're going to get into someone else's segment. This is a staple every time he's on here. It's Low Road Knows. And this is more transitioning to the NFL. We'll get into the World Series in a little bit, but we had a pretty interesting news out of Indianapolis. Loro, what can you tell us?
Well, the Indianapolis Colts have fired Frank Reich as their head coach after a 3-5-1 start to the 22 season, and they have hired Jeff Saturday to be their interim head coach. And what has crippled the Colts? I think it's because Frank Reich had to go through so many quarterbacks with the retirement of Andrew Luck. I don't think that this is Frank Reich's fault. I don't think he wanted to go through that, but sadly he got scapegoated by Jim Irsay, and we talked about this many times, Matt, that Frank Reich was fired because of Jim Irsay's impatience, and I think the Jeff Saturday move was an Irsay move. Also, I think that who do I think they go in the 23 draft? I think they got to go the quarterback like Will Levis or Van Dyke out of Miami. But I think the Colts need to go for a top college quarterback. They got to go with either C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. Well, I think either of these two will be great fits for the Colts. And for Jeff Saturday's resume, he hasn't had head coaching experience. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jim Irsay was already hyping him up, but I think the Colts might be tanking.
They could be. They could be.
I don't think they get one of those two quarterbacks, though. They're not that bad.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Colts, like teams like the Texans or teams like the Detroit Lions are probably going to get a top 2 pick. If you're the Indianapolis, the Carolina Panthers especially, yeah, that's a good one. So there are 3 teams that I think are worse than the Colts that could use a quarterback right now. And Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, if those are the best on the table right now, I don't think that you're going to be able to get them. I am going to say this, though. When it comes to the Indianapolis Colts and Jeff Saturday's resume, I don't understand why they hired Jeff Saturday to begin with. I know he's passionate about his Colts.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. He's passionate about his Colts, but he has no coaching experience.
Because they want to lose.
So, but like you're taking an ESPN analyst who's good for throwing out pancakes versus a competent head coaching candidate that you could plug and play for the rest of the season.
They want to lose. Why do you think the Jets held on to Adam Gase the whole year?
Oh, that's right.
He was the best at losing games, and they think that Jeff Saturday is the best at losing games. And I know owners and teams aren't going to admit it, but they know their best chances with a guy like Jeff Saturday, which, no disrespect to him, has no football and coaching experience. Well, he has football, but no NFL head coaching experience. And they know deep down, right, that Jeff Saturday is going to be gone by the end of the year, and they're going to try and learn one of these head coaches from some team. So we'll see what happens, but I definitely think, Matty, this was a move to take, just like how the Carolina Panthers are starting P.J. Walker on Thursday instead of Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold, which, I mean, he seems to basically telling us they're tanking. So
Pretty much. Laurel, how do you see the Jeff Saturday hiring panning out?
I think it could pan out to be good, but I am not going to I'm not going to go any further on this because he has no head coaching experience. I think the Colts are going to hire a new head coach in the offseason, and I think they got to hire a head coach with NFL experience and with Super Bowl experience. That's what Jim Irsay is looking for.
Yeah, and we mentioned a bunch on Colorcast. Jim Irsay is not a patient man. Clearly, he wasn't patient. One thing that I got to mention, and Laurel put this on Facebook. I thought this was really, really interesting. The Colts against the Patriots on Sunday's game. They went 0 for 14 on third down. Were held to just 3 points. And I think there was another stat that you said that Facebook post, or what was that other stat?
Let's take a look at that right now.
'Cause I remember it was 0 for 14 on third down and something crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, 0 for 14 on third down conversions that the Patriots held the Colts to. And then they set a team record for sacks.
Oh my God, how many?
I don't know how many sacks. It was a lot. Like Matthew Judon was an animal out there on the field.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that-
God.
Yeah, that boy managed it on good.
Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing. All right. Now we're gonna get back into the NFL in a second, but first I want to talk about the World Series. And by the way, I just want to say one thing. If you're from Philadelphia, God bless you. God bless you. Don't burn your city down. Don't burn your city down. It's a decent city. Don't burn Philadelphia down. We get it. Why am I saying this to Philadelphia people? Because Philadelphia's had a rough Saturday. They had a really, really rough Saturday. The Philadelphia Union lost the MLS Cup to the LAFC, and then the Philadelphia Phillies lost the World Series to the Houston Astros.
And then the Philadelphia 76ers lost to New York Knicks.
And the Philadelphia 76ers lost to the New York Knicks. It was a rough Saturday
Oh, yeah.
for Philadelphia sports. But we're going to get into the Philadelphia Phillies right now as they lost in the World Series. And Loro, I know you were all over that World Series. When did the tide start to turn? Because it looked like Philadelphia was well in control of this.
I think the tide started to turn after that no-hitter because, Christian Javier was one of the pitchers that pitched that no-hitter. I think the Astros pitching just was better overall than the Phillies pitching. And I was thinking the Phillies would win because, look, Rob Thompson has pulled all the right triggers and made all the right decisions for the pitching staff.
Right.
But as for the Astros, they were the better team, and I think Dusty Baker deserved and earned and was due for that ring.
Ryan, what happened in this World Series that stood out to you?
Jeremy Pena is better than Carlos Correa.
Very much
Basically.
so.
And it's really frustrating because you got to watch this freaking team every single year lose key after key pieces. It's like, yeah, it's all right. We don't need him. Garrett Cole? No. Framber Valdez. Carlos Correa? Nah. Jeremy Pena. Let's just think. George Springer. Nah. Kyle Tucker. All right, fine. Whatever. Whoever else. Nah. Jordan Alvarez. All right. It's like how? It's like how does this happen? And it
Their
just
farm
doesn't-
system is loaded.
it just doesn't make sense. But yeah, you gotta give him credit. I am happy for Dusty Baker, and as a Yankee fan, and I know for a lot of us, Maddie, we were in a bad spot, right? Because first off, we hate Philly with a passion because we're New Yorkers,
Yeah.
or New York fans.
Right.
But we also hate the Houston freaking Astros. So it was like, shoot, it was like, what would you rather do? Get stabbed to death or get shot? It's like, all right. It's like, I don't know, what's quicker? And like,
Right.
the Astros won for me. Personally, I'd rather live with that because it wouldn't have been a shock. Like, all right, it sucks, but like we knew this was gonna happen.
Uh-huh.
But like for Philly, I couldn't bear living it down with those fans because at least for the Houston fans, like people in Texas, they're not like Philly fans or New York fans. They're passionate, right? But if those Phillies won the World Series, my God, I would have had to get off all social medias.
They would have burned their city down.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what they did when the Eagles won. I mean, Lord.
Oh my God! I still remember in my mind when the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl
Yeah.
what they did in that
Yeah.
poor city.
Oh my God, dude! It was ridiculous, bro. Oh
Like
my
they
God.
always would break street lights every time the Eagles or the Phillies win a World Series, and I'm like, that's not celebrating responsibly.
No,
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah.
It's not.
It's like how
They're
it's like how,
they're morons for doing that.
I love that.
But it's like how? It's like how do you do this?
Like it's vandalizing your city, and you're just celebrating excessively.
but I'm not gonna lie to you, Laurel. I respect it. I respect it.
I respect
Like
it
this is
too.
what they would do. They would break cars. They would stand on cars. That's what fans would do, and stand on street lights.
Oh, it's
No,
crazy.
dude, dude. It was
Imagine,
interesting.
and I wonder if the Phillies fans were breaking street lights when they lost the World Series.
Hey,
That's
listen,
fair.
it's the same thing's going to happen. Fans are going to be pissed and they're going to destroy their city if they lose, and they're going to be excited that they're going to destroy their city if they win. Like it literally goes. It's literally a one-way street either way. The outcome. Um, Now I'm going to stick with baseball for a second because Loro, you brought up an interesting topic of discussion, and that's Aaron Judge and what could happen with him. Now, for those of you who were not in New York running the NYC Marathon, Aaron Judge was actually in New York in attendance at the NYC Marathon to support his wife, who was running the marathon. I had a couple of coworkers from Outback run the marathon as well. I want to give a shout out to my manager Melissa. She did a phenomenal job running the marathon in 6 hours. But Laurel, you brought up a good point that Aaron Judge's future is kind of up in the air. That's kind of between two teams. How do you see this shaking up?
Well, my 50% of me says that Aaron Judge will stay in the Bronx. 50% says that he would go back home to his native Bay Area and play for his childhood team in the San Francisco Giants. The thing is, the Giants have more than enough money to give Aaron Judge a $500 million contract. Do the Yankees have enough money to do that? I think they do. I mean, but the thing is with the Yankees is they have Cole's contract eaten up for like the next 6 or 7 years.
Right.
Stanton's contract is very, very high. I think the Yankees need to do something to keep Judge here. Like, here's what I would do. Make some trades. Like, if you want to trade Glaber away or DJ LeMahieu away, they could do that to make room for Judge. But if Aaron Judge was willing to take less than 500 mil, go down to at least 400 mil, between 400 mil and 395 mil, then there's a good chance he stays in pinstripes.
So Ryan, how do you see this working out?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Matty. I've seen some stuff about the Yankees recently, Matty, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he's gonna walk. I do. Because I think he's looking at the direction of his team and how stubborn the freaking owner and general manager are. I mean, we all know Brian Cashman's coming back, right? But they're looking at him, it's like, how is Josh Donaldson actually going to play third baseline next year? Anthony Rizzo may not resign. Gleyber Torres is, like, he had an okay season last year. But I'm like, if I was Judge, it depends now on, do you want money and do you want to go home? Or do you want money and you want the biggest market in sports? Now, if I was Judge, a non-biased aside, I would stay in the New York market. I'm not saying the Yankees. You very well go to the Mets. But, like, in the New York market, you're going to make a lot more than you will in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And it depends on if Judge wants that, right? Like, does he want to go play in I have no idea, right? But my sneaky suspicion is they're not going to give Judge what he wants because I think it's going to come down to Hal Steinbrenner. And I don't know if he's going to give the money to the Judge. And I've had issues now with Steinbrenner and Cashman. And I know Cashman, the budget is not like he doesn't create the budget, the owner creates the budget.
Yeah.
But it's like you're the New York Yankees. They have to handle their offseason exactly the way the Dodgers do. They sat David Price for 3 freaking years just because they're like, yeah, we're the Dodgers, you can sit here, you can make $500 million. Mm-hmm. And if you're the Yankees, that's exactly what you should do. They signed Stanton, however long ago that was. They signed DJ. Donald said, if I were you, was like, you can't trade Donaldson. Do what the Dodgers did with David Price. Just sit him. Who cares? You're the New York freaking Yankees. So that's what's been bothering me about them recently is their whole roster construction. If you would ask me, like, what would I like to see right now? I'd be like, call up Anthony Volpe, get me, like, Aaron Judge, re-sign Benintendi, and keep Bader there. I would, like, go after, like, if Rizzo's not going to come back, go after, like, an all-star first baseman.
Right.
And then if you're not going to call him Volpe, then go get one of Carlos Correa's, Xander Bogaerts, or Trey Turner. It's not hard. Move DJ LeMahieu to third base because you're paying him, and I also think that DJ is better than Donaldson on any given day. But I mean, the way they handle it just really bothers me. That's why I don't have faith the Judge is actually coming back.
That's a good point. There's a lot of moving pieces that you could do if you're the Yankees. If Aaron Judge doesn't come back, you could do a bunch of things. Aaron Judge is an icon here in New York. Or not New York, in the New York area. We're from Jersey and one's from California. He's an icon in New York. Like, the amount of number 99s you see in Yankee Stadium every home game, it's kind of amazing. He's said it time and time again. He loves the fan base. He loves the attention. He loves the headlines. He reminds me of Derek Jeter. Like he's not going to say much. He's not going to grab any headlines with his words, but he is going to say something to give the media's attention, but not create a headline. Which I quote from the Derek Jeter series, The Captain, which if you haven't seen it, you should watch. Um, Judge that kind of guy, and I think he's a captain caliber guy for the New York Yankees. If he can't play in the New York market and he wants to go home, that should just tell you the kind of guy he is. A guy that could play really well, but not well enough when the lights are at their brightest. And that's in New York City. So ultimately, there's just a lot of things that are left to be solved. I mean, whether Aaron Judge gets that $500 million contract with the Yankees or with the Giants, he's gonna break records financially because he had a season for the ages that we've never seen before.
Mhm.
So obviously there's gonna be a lot of talk about what he's gonna do, but we'll just have to wait and see. But now we're gonna get into back in the NFL. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna have myself, Loro, and Ryan all have one game that we're going to talk about for the next couple minutes each and give our input on that game, give our excitement or disappointment or whatever we're feeling at that moment in time, and just go full on nuts for the next several minutes. And we're going to start off with Ryan because, my God, I think the upset of the year happened.
Yeah. And the only thing I will say about this, right, and it's been bothering me, is right, nobody wants to give the Jets any credit for this win.
What?
They're like, oh, the Jets win, but Josh Allen hurt his elbow. Shut up. You hurt his elbow the last
And speaking
play
of
game.
Josh Allen, before you go on, I think he will be fine. I think he's going to play Sunday.
Well, what makes me think as well, Lauro, that why I agree with you, is he hurt his elbow before he threw that 70-yard bomb, which, by the way, oh my Lord. That dude, this dude is, like, ridiculous. And, like, the fact that he just airs the ball out 70 yards and doesn't even break a freaking sweat is ridiculous, right? And I know Buffalo Bills fans are going to cry and be like, oh, that was a personal, or not personal,
Pass interference?
pass interference on Sauce Gardner. Shut up. Because I can name you two other plays the Buffalo Bills should have got flags for. Exhibit A, Zach Wilson when he got sacked. Not the strip sack, the other one when he got flattened by that defensive lineman right when he was on the ground.
Yeah.
And then number two, when the Jets were driving at the end of the game, Zach Wilson was running towards the sidelines, got hit, out of bounds. Those are two flags right there. And people are like, oh, how is that a flag? Well, look at last week about Mike Jones. The CJ Mosley hit, you're telling me that's not very similar to what the hit on Zach Wilson was? You're going to tell me that JFM's roughing the passer last week was worse than what happened to Zach? No. And, like, I'm not one to complain about penalties. And the reason that I respect this game yesterday is, like, I don't want to be that guy to be like, oh, that's a penalty. That's a penalty. Like, I actually preferred that game yesterday where both teams had three flags for 30 yards. I think that's a better thing because I feel like the game actually moves. I don't want to see deep throw, flag. Like, it's like, relax. But, like, I guess for me, it depends on, first off, the officiating group. Because the officiating group for this game against, like, the Jets versus Bills and the Jets versus Patriots were two different complete referee groups.
Right.
But if you're gonna call a flag, be consistent. And that's what I think. And people are not understanding that. Like, the refs were consistent all day. They were letting these DBs and letting these wide receivers hand fight. They were letting a lot of stuff go. And that's fine with me. If you're not going to call that on Zach, then that better not have been PI on Sauce Gardner, which it wasn't. Like, it could it have been? Like, if that was last week against the Wiggler, probably a flag. Right? But depends on the groups. So that's what I wanted to let all Buffalo Bills fans know is shut up. That's not why. You lost because the Jets defense made the best and the favorite to win the MVP look like garbage. I'm just gonna say it. And if you want to know why I'm saying that, go look back at Josh Allen's press conference. He goes, "It's hard to win your quarterback plays like shit." That's what he said, and he's right. Like, the Jets really made him look awful. And that was the first time I've seen Josh Allen look awful since he played the Patriots 2 years ago.
Oh my God!
Threw 2 picks. He should have threw 3. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you, Matty. The first 2 plays of the game, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a bad one. When I saw the kicker slip, and when I saw Sauce get cooked by Diggs, I'm like, oh boy.
Oh yes.
Those first ones, I'm like, this is gonna be a long day. I'm like, oh boy. And then it didn't happen. Then I got the pick. I'm like, we're good. And then Kyle also asked, Maddie, is it only the Jets that will get a 12-minute Skycam delay? Are you kidding? Like, tell me another point in time, Maddie, outside the blackout game and the Super Bowl between the Rams and the Niners, that has ever happened.
Oh,
And
the
that
Skycam.
that is a momentum killer. Because if you look at the next two plays after that, false start on Denzel Mims, strip sack by Von Miller. It's like, bro. It's like, you can't be serious. Like, this only happens to the freaking Jets. And I overcame it.
They did. Very, very
And
impressive.
Zach, I'm still cautiously optimistic. Because, yes, did he play good this week? Yes. Did he light it up? No. Zach played the type of game which how the Jets defense is playing and how their ability to run the ball. Zach is playing like a game manager. And yes, people will say, well, they probably won't move the game. Fine. I understand, right? But it's working. So I understand that I want Zach to play like Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow or like any other star quarterback, right? I want that as much as everybody else does. But Zach Wilson's been 5-1 as a starter. That shows something.
Yeah.
He's doing something right. But Maddie, I'm so nervous for next week, Maddie, because if they lose, or 2 weeks, if they lose to the Patriots again, it's just gonna be like this whole game at nothing. Just like that whole 5-game winning streak went absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And that whole 4-game winning streak went nothing until they lost to the Patriots. Because I think the Jets are a better team than the Patriots, top to bottom. I just think like it's gonna come down to questionable calls on how does Zach play. But, yeah, big statement win by the Jets, but I mean. Oh, also, did you guys see this thing? So, if you guys look up on Twitter, it's called Jets Coin. It's like Jets Coin Predictor.
Uh-huh.
There's this guy, Eloro, that this guy flipped a coin in like August or like July or something over the summer. He flipped a coin for every game in the Jets schedule. Dude,
Yeah.
the coin was 100%.
No way.
I can't believe it. Yeah. And like the coin goes to Jets are losing next week to the Patriots, the week after to the Bears. But then they're gonna win. They're gonna be 10-7, and they're gonna go to the AFC Championship. Dude,
No way.
if the Jets lose to the Patriots, I am buying into the coin. I'm buying it. There's no 9 in a row. I was looking at the odds, dude. That's like 5,000 to 1. That is ridiculous. It's a coin.
I've never heard anything like that.
How is that possible? How is that possible?
Oh my god, that's crazy.
I can't believe it. Just look it up. Like Jets coin predictor. It's the funniest thing. I can't believe it.
And I also got to say one thing, too, about your Jets thing. So, apparently my friend Jason in Outback, who's a massive Jets fan, he got a Jets win for his birthday. So, obviously, he's fine with that. Apparently, in a press conference, Sauce Gardner was asked about playing the Patriots.
Yeah, I heard.
And guess what he said?
He just smiled and goes, oh, yeah.
He can't wait.
You see, here's the problem with, and I respect that the Jets are young, and this is why their culture's been changing. Because, man, you know the only guy that's been there since Adam Gase?
Who?
I think it's 2 guys. I think it's Nathan Shepard and CJ Mosley. Everybody else is new. Maybe Connor McGovern, but like there's a lot of new faces. So like they changed the culture because they've gotten new guys, Maddie, from winning organizations. First off in the NFL and in college, they're like, yeah, we don't lose. And it's like, ugh. But so when I saw Sauce in, I'm like, I understand why, but I'm like, he really doesn't know what it's like. Because every Jet fan's like, this is not a winnable game at all. Like, this is a classic Jet loss. And I respect that these players are as confident as they are, but, like, if you're Sauce, and if I'm solid, I'd be like, listen, buddy, I understand that you're confident, but it's like, this is Bill freaking Belichick. It's like, relax.
And also the thing, like, the reason why I mentioned the whole can't wait, because guess what former Jet said those famous words?
Well, I know.
Mr. Bart Scott.
Yeah.
Back after the Jets beat the Patriots in the 2010 divisional playoff round.
Yep.
He said can't wait when it comes to playing in Pittsburgh. But anyway, now it is my turn to talk about my game. I got the Packers versus the Detroit Lions. This was very, very, very surprising.
Aaron Rodgers
Packers-
washed, question mark?
What?
Is Aaron Rodgers washed, question mark?
Oh yeah, he's washed. First off, he looked terrible against the Detroit Lions. That's number one. Number two, the Packers suffered 3 massive injuries. Rashawn Gary's out for the season. Romeo Dobbs is going to
He is out for the season? What happened to him?
He tore his ACL.
Oh, he did. I didn't see that. Damn.
Rashawn Gary tore his ACL. Romeo Dobbs is out for likely most of the rest of the season, and then Aaron Jones is likely to play this week against the Cowboys, but I highly doubt that's going to be the case. Now, this is the fourth straight loss the Green Bay Packers have had. They did not look good against Detroit at all. How do you allow just 9 points? And Aaron Rodgers threw 3 interceptions against the Lions, a team that he usually dominates.
32nd worst defense in the NFL.
The worst defense in the NFL, and Aaron Rodgers made them look like the 85 Bears. Like, it was freaking crazy. I had no idea that this was even the case. I couldn't believe it because Aaron Rodgers never plays bad against the Lions. But the bottom line, the Packers have just lost it. They've lost their edge. They've lost their swagger. They've lost a lot of things. I don't think Matt LaFleur is going to be gone. I think he's going to be fine. I think that Aaron Rodgers put himself in this position, and all this bad stuff going on with the Packers is his fault entirely. Because I don't think that this is going well, and he let Devontae Adams walk because he wanted the money and he got greedy. That's all I got to say about the Green Bay Packers. What a mess this team has been. And they're going to go 3-7 because the Dallas Cowboys are going to kick their ass. Big time. All right.
Yeah.
With that being said, Loro, your boy hit a milestone and had a game-winning drive. Go ahead.
He sure did. I mean, I think, a lot of people were doubting Tom Brady because he was not having a good season. Tampa Bay has had a lot of injuries, and you talk about him leading a game-winning drive, throwing a touchdown pass to a receiver that he's not familiar with, and then the Bucs are in first place in the NFC South. Do I think the Bucs have turned the corner? I think they have, but I think that they go to Germany to play the Seahawks, and I think they can win this game.
They're gonna lose.
It's not going to be easy for Tom Brady against Geno Smith because Geno Smith is a guy that you can't underestimate.
I will say this, though. The Seattle game is going to be interesting because Seattle's defense, without Jamal Adams, I might add, to the delay of Ryan.
Blitz boy.
Without Jamal Adams, this defense has been pretty good in Seattle. So
They've been better. They've been better without him than with him. I'm just going to put that out there.
Brian loves to rub it in the face of Jet players who just are impatient.
2 first-round picks, baby. Garrett Wilson, AVT for Jamal Adams. Suck it, Seattle.
Oh, my God.
But,
all right.
No, but I'm not going to lie to you, man. They have the best rookie draft class of the last year's draft.
Who,
I thought it was the Jets. I thought it was the Ravens. It's definitely Seattle.
Because they got Ken Walker. They got that guy Woolen.
No, they have Charles Cross. They have Ken Walker. They have Tariq Woolen. They have Kobe Bryant. They have the other guard that they have, Abraham Lucas. They got some studs. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was definitely up the Jets saying they're going to have the offensive rookie and defensive rookie of the year. It might be the Seahawks with Ken Walker and Tariq Woolen.
Yeah, especially now Breece Hall. Especially because Breece Hall for that injury.
I'm fascinated though to see how trashy Mike Evans, stinky, smelly, trashy Mike Evans, who's 6'5", by the way, goes up against 6'4" Tariq Woolen. I'm excited.
All right. Now, Ryan mentioned Mike Evans. Mike Evans was associated in a very particular matchup.
It was.
So I will say this, it's that time already. So if you fall, I haven't really posted much on the Siriani Says Sports Fantasy League because I don't know. It's just not really something that I was really interested in doing this year, especially because there's fewer teams. But Ryan was involved in a very, 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 very razor-thin close matchup with our Uncle Anthony. And Ryan won by 0.3 points. I was so aggravated, I tried to tweet the score. But obviously I felt guilty afterwards because it just wasn't right. And I had to resign as commissioner of my fantasy league because I just felt like that wasn't the right thing to do. So, Loro, I don't know if you're aware of this. We're in a 10-man fantasy league. Ryan won this week by 0.3 points, and now he's in playoff position because of it.
Well,
oh, man. Fantasy football can be sometimes nerve-wracking.
It's nerve-wracking.
All I say is Uncle Damien's still there. He's hanging around.
And let me just get this out of the way. I'm not going anywhere. My team sucks. They're not going anywhere. I have 2 Colts on my team. They're terrible. But Ryan, you gloated when I called you at work.
Yes.
And I'll let you gloat again. You have a couple minutes to gloat because we gotta hurry up.
Yeah, I told you, second best team in the league. I mean, yes, my brother dropped 170 points, but Joe Mixon also got 50.
55.
So, Cool with that. He may have the second best team because once Chase comes back, I mean, my lord. DeAndre Hopkins, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones. Yeah, TJ Hawkinson. Good team, right? Maddie, you saw who came back this week. I did pretty good.
Cordero.
He did. Cordero, Deontay Foreman now, and Najee Harris will still be riding the bench. But T. Higgins is out. T. Higgins, they have a bye. I'll slot on Amari Cooper. That's all right. Dallas Goddard, Jalen Hurts, bang bang. Kyle Pitts can ride the bench. Yeah, got a lot of guys that can ride the bench. Alan Lazard rides the bench. A lot of guys ride the bench. But yes, Maddie, Kenneth freaking Walker saved me. Maddie, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was watching the game intently in the Seattle game, and I couldn't believe Ken Walker scored a touchdown. My eyes went from like 50-50 to like 78. Then the next freaking drive, they had the play in the end zone that they called down on the 1 yard line. I'm like, this is good. And it's a freaking
Kenneth Walker touchdown.
No. I'm talking about Arizona. Like right after the Kenneth Walker first one. That is the freaking slant. I'm like, bro. I'm like, you can't be serious right now. And at the same time, Mike Evans is playing. I'm like, shoot. And then Ken Walker again. He goes right down the field touch. I'm like, yes. And I'm looking. I'm like, oh my God. I'm up by like 3 points. And Zach Ertz gets like another catch for like, it was like 11. A catch for like 15. Yeah, something like that. It was like, so basically I was up by like, at this point, like literally 0.28. And it was literally like the last drive of the game. Like this was before the Rams, by the way, choked. But this is the end zone when Scotty Miller dropped the wide open ball. And then when they stopped them on fourth down, I'm like, okay, Rams, run the clock out, I win the freaking game. They couldn't because they're the Rams, but besides the point. Then the Bucks get the ball back, and I'm like this boy needs one catch, and I was like, you can't be freaking serious. And my God, Matt, the Tom Brady drive down the whole field and didn't throw it once to Mike Evans. Well, he threw it to him once, and he dropped it.
Yeah.
I couldn't freaking believe it. And I'm going to say this, Anthony. Thank God you didn't have Nick Chubb. Thank God. Because, my God, freaking Austin Eckler, that damn guy, that guy can't be freaking stopped.
Oh, my God. Well, what happens is the reason why I changed the score was because I was in playoff.
A little frustrated.
I was a little frustrated. I was in playoff position, and then I got my butt kicked by 60 points.
Yep.
But if Ryan lost, I would have stayed in playoff position because I had the head-to-head over him, and I had the one-game cushion. Now I don't have the one-game cushion anymore. It's fair play.
What about Uncle Damian? Uncle Damian's out here too.
We got 3 teams that are 5-4 chasing that wild card spot.
And it's everybody in our division. Maddie, we're the AFC East of fantasy. Ridiculous.
It's crazy already.
The AFC Beast, actually. Sorry.
The AFC Beasts. Me, Derek, Uncle Damian, Anthony, and you.
Oh, yeah. So we got to look at that other trashy, stinky, smelly division.
That your brother dominates.
3-6, 2-7, 0-9.
0-9. 0-9.
That's like 3-6. Yeah, it's like, bro. It's like, how?
Oh, it's crazy.
0-9. Good Lord. Good
Lord. God. You can't get any worse than that. But anyway, now we're going to get into the really, really quick stuff. We're going to get into rapid fire picks based on the spread. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Let's do it.
Yes. So, hold on. I'm pulling them up. Sorry. We got to load. So, Maddie, we have the Thursday night game, which we all know is going to be an absolute slugfest in the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. It's the Falcons minus 2.5.
I'm going to take the Falcons on this one. I think they're coming off a tough loss against the Carolina Panthers, and I think the Panthers are just doo-doo. So I'm going to go with the Falcons. What do you think?
The LA Chargers, by the way.
Going with the Falcons, too. And I think that they cover the spread, but I also think that they're probably going to blow out Carolina.
All right, Ryan, what do you think?
I got them, too. I got the Atlanta Falcons. Agent Terrell Allen, baby, going up against DJ Moore.
All right, what's next?
Next, Maddie, the Germany game, right? Am I mistaken?
Yeah.
Germany?
Yeah.
The Seattle Seahawks, Tampa Bay Bucks. Bucks minus 2.5.
Bucks are favored in this game. Seattle's put up a really good fight. I'm going to go with the Seahawks in this one, but I think it's going to be close. I think Seattle wins, so I think that they're going to cover the spread. Laura, what do you think?
I am going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay. What's next?
Next, Minnesota Vikings, Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills minus 6.5. And it is not confirmed yet. Josh Allen may or may not play this week. We do not know yet. as of this moment, but we'll see.
The Vikings are for real. The Vikings are for real.
Kirk Cousins, baby, just remember.
Just remember him. You like that? Well, I'll tell you what I like. I like the Vikings upsetting the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings plus 6.5. Laura, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Bills. I think Josh Allen plays.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Vikings. Because unless it's not prime time for Kirk Cousins, they play well.
All right, what's next?
Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears. Bears minus 2.5.
You know what? I have actually crapped on the Bears more than I like. Justin Fields is playing really, really well. He's played really, really well. What's the spread for this game?
Bears minus 2.5.
I'm going to take that. I think Justin Fields is going to run all over the Chicago Bears. Laura, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. I think the Lions keep it close, but I think the Bears survive.
All right, and Ryan just corrected me. I said Justin Fields is going to run all over the Chicago Bears. No, he's going to run all over the Detroit Lions. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm actually going to go with the Detroit Lions.
Ooh.
I got a lot of dogs this week, man. A lot of dogs.
I can tell. What's next?
Next, Denver Broncos, Tennessee Titans. Titans minus 2.5.
The Titans lost their 5-game winning streak, but my God, that boy Derrick Henry can run.
And my God, is that boy Blake Willis hot garbage?
He has not looked good. He's still adjusting though. I'm gonna go with the Titans because I think they're better. Laura, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. I just think Denver right now they sold everybody.
All right, what's next? Ryan.
Wow. All right, thanks, man. I see how it is.
Sorry.
I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans.
I'm sorry about that. I skipped you by accident. What's next?
Next, Jacksonville Jaguars, Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs minus 9.5.
Easy one, Chiefs. Laura.
I'm actually going to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah,
All right,
Chiefs.
All right, Ryan. Chiefs as well.
Yeah.
right,
Cleveland Browns, Miami Dolphins. Dolphins minus 3.5.
I'm gonna go with Miami on this one. They can put up some points now that Tua Tagovailoa is back. Laura, what do you think?
I'm go with my guy too and the Dolphins here.
All right,
I'm
Ryan.
going with the Dolphins.
All right, what's next?
Your boys, the Giants against the stinky, smelly Houston Texans.
What's the spread?
Giants minus 6.5. I don't think the
6?
spread matters.
I
Personally.
think the spread matters. The Texans are a joke. This might be the first game the Giants win by
Convincingly.
more than one possession.
Convincingly.
Convincingly, they might win this game convincingly. I'm going with
Matty,
the
I
Chiefs on this.
think that might be a good thing for you, Matty, because I know a lot of Giant fans, Matty, that are basically like an inch away from cardiac arrest.
Oh my God, forget about it. Me during the Jacksonville game, forget about it. Laura, what do you think?
Oh, say that again, please.
Giants,
and Texans 6.5 just for the Giants.
I'm going to go with the New York Giants to win this football game.
Good
right,
man. So am I.
All right, clean sweep on the Giants. Let's go. New York, stand up. What's next?
New Orleans Saints, Pittsburgh Steelers. Gross. Saints minus 2.5.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are even. This is the battle to see who's even worse.
Yeah. Gross.
I'm gonna go with the Saints. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are terrible. Laura, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think Kenny Pickett finally puts his the Steelers, I think, are going to find a way to pick it up. I mean, Mike Tomlin's a good coach, you know?
Yeah. All right, Ryan, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Steelers because I think TJ Watt's coming back this week. I don't know. He might not be, but I'm going to take the Steelers in our own house. I think.
Okay. What's next?
Next, Indianapolis Colts, Vegas Raiders. Raiders minus 6.5.
Jeff Saturday put on Twitter the Raiders look horrible before he got the job as head coach. I think this Colts team, I'm about ready to drop all my Colts in fantasy.
Do it.
I'm literally, this Colts team is a complete disgrace. The Raiders are actually more competent than the Colts are. I'm going to go with the Raiders. Laura, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Raiders as well.
Yeah, I am as well.
All right, what's next?
Dallas Cowboys, Green Bay Packers, Matty. Cowboys minus 4.5. This is
Cowboys
in
minus
Lambeau,
4.5?
by the way. They're minus 4.5 in Lambeau.
In Lambeau,
Yeah.
this is going to be a slaughter. That Cowboys defense is nasty. I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Laura?
I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers
Respect.
will make Stephen A.
Respect.
Smith happy.
Respect.
I forgot about the Stephen A. Smith factor.
Respect, but like no Romeo Dobbs, probably no Christian Watson. It's just Alan Lazard.
And likely Aaron Jones.
He is going up against overrated Trayvon Diggs, but Micah Parsons, man. If David Bakhtiari ain't playing, oh, good lord. I'm
So
going
you got
with
the
Dallas
Cowboys or you got the Packers?
Yes, I got the Cowboys.
All right, what's next?
Next, gross. Two of the most overrated teams in football. Arizona Cardinals, Los Angeles Rams. Rams minus 3.5.
Oh man, the Rams are on a hangover of all hangovers.
I don't even know where to go on this.
I don't even know where to go on this. Loro, I'm gonna start with you. Where do you want to go on this?
Hmm.
I'm gonna go with the Rams. I think if
That was quick.
they play the
Damn.
Cardinals very well, and I
They
think
do.
they probably will get their season on track if they get this win.
I'm actually gonna agree with Loro because he brought up a good point. The Cardinals are bad against the Rams, so I'm gonna go with LA.
Ugh. I think I'm gonna go with the Cardinals because I like that 3.5 for the Cardinals.
All right, what's next?
Chargers, Niners. Niners minus 6.5.
Loro and I are doing this game on Colorcast. It's the Niners and the Chargers. The Chargers are coming off a good win over the Falcons, and the Chargers are somewhat in contention for a playoff spot. The Jets have really surprised a lot of people. That's why the Chargers are not in a really good stance right now, standing wise. But I got to go with the Chargers on this one. I think the 49ers are a good team, but not good enough to take on the Chargers. Laura, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with the Chargers to win this game. Anyways, Matt, speaking of the Chargers, you and I will be doing the next two Charger games on Sunday Night Football and Colorcast because we're going to do our first SoFi Stadium game together next Sunday when the Chargers host the Chiefs.
That's right. That's right. Back-to-back Sunday Night Football games for the Los Angeles Chargers. Ryan, what do you think?
I think I'm gonna go with not the Rams, the Niners.
Okay. Last but not least.
Why is this game on Monday night, by the way? The Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, good lord. Eagles minus 10.5.
That spread should be 1,000 times higher.
Oh my god. The Buffalo Bills are favored against the Jets by 12.5 last week.
Well, I don't get that spread. Why is it 10.5 if the Bills are favored by 12.5?
And the Jets were 5-3. And the Commanders suck so bad.
I'm not even going to tell you where I'm going with this. Laura, what do you think?
Yeah.
I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, do I even have to ask?
No, Matty, you know where my loyalty's been this whole year. Jalen,
Yep.
and Jalen
All right.
trust.
All right, so that pretty much does it for the rapid fire picks. Now, here's what's going to happen now. I'm going to go over our sponsors really, really quickly. So, what's that?
Oh, it was a fan of the year thing.
Okay. Anyway, Siriani Says Sports is brought to you by the following businesses: DAS Technology Consulting, Valix Enterprises, Jag One Physical Therapy, the Grace Foundation of New York, Outback Steakhouse in Middletown, the Integrated Planning Group, Rocco's Original Italian Ices, and Jag One Physical Therapy.
There you go, Matty.
So,
You're struggling there a little bit.
struggling there a little bit. I was trying to get the words out, but like I got it. But anyway, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all those good social media outlets, and we appreciate you so much. We have had a few people tune in tonight's show, and I really, really appreciate it. I had fun. This was a fun show. We got it done in less than an hour. So obviously we kept our promise. It's under an hour. It's a little bit past 9 o'clock, but don't worry. I'm assuming that those of you out there are watching the midterms right now. But thank you so much for tuning into into tonight's episode. We greatly appreciate your support, and we'll see you soon next week. From Loro Antonio, from Ryan Bear Jr., I'm Matt Siriani. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Have a great night. Enjoy the midterms and the course. Peace out.
Have a great night, everyone.
A good night.